Man, we just had a major showdown at 135 pounds, the bantamweight division. Cory Sandhagen, the number 2 contender in the division, facing TJ Dillashaw. After a 2.5 year layoff, man, this was the fight that I was so excited about, man, because even though TJ has been a part of some, not so savory things in terms of the PEDs and stuff like that, I still like how he fights, man. He is super aggressive, crazy tough, and always game. And this fight lived up to those expectations. Now, Cory Sandhagen is a legit fighter. He's the number 2 contender for a reason. And if it wasn't for a crazy mistake in that Aljamain fight, and Aljamain was able to take his back and choke him out, if that doesn't happen, Cory probably is fighting for the belt already. So when you think of TJ coming off of a 2.5 year layoff, the concerns start to pop up. Obviously, ring rust. Is TJ still going to be that dynamic, prolific striker now that the PEDs aren't in his system? There was a lot of questions surrounding this. And with Cory, we've seen Cory be very successful. How is he going to handle TJ? Because TJ is versatile. It's a little bit different animal than anybody that Cory has faced. So this fight gets started, and TJ from the start shows zero ring rust. In fact, he's initiating, he's leading the dance, and it looks good. He is so versatile with his legs, with his punching, head movement. You know how TJ does. It looked vintage TJ in the first. Everybody had TJ winning that first. Now, the second is where it got interesting because Cory is able to cut TJ. Nice gash right on the eye, and from there, the fight changes. Now, TJ also talks about him hurting his knee some point in that first round on a leg lock. He said that it was more so because he was lazy than anything. And it was funny because the corner actually said that to him, I think, going into the third round. He's like, yo, man, stop being lazy. Pick it up. And from there, you see TJ click a switch. But the funny thing is this, man, in the midst of, like I said, TJ trying to get it going, Cory is still landing. Cory is still a sniper with his length, with his range. The difference was, though, TJ was always in dominant positions at the end of these rounds, whether he had Cory's back while they were on the feet, whether he had Cory on the ground. He always looked like he was in the dominant position, even though Cory was landing some very significant strikes and obviously was cutting up TJ. TJ at the end of these rounds, because of how deep that cut was on his eye, was just leaking blood. But once again, this is a big time shout out to TJ. He fights through it. As the fight goes on, he thinks less about the knee, less about the eye, and more about landing some leather on Cory. And man, he is doing it. But Cory is still landing some major shots. The spinning elbow that he landed, it was beautiful. But as a whole, this fight exceeded my expectations. I thought it was going to be a legit good scrap because both of those guys are high-level MMA fighters. But man, I must say, they thoroughly impressed me in this fight. Now it's going to be interesting to see what happens next because the way that they ruled it, Cory had one on one of the judges' cards. TJ had one on 2 of the judges' cards, but they were very close. Split decision going to TJ. So now TJ, after the fight, says that he wants a title shot. Now we know that we got Petr Yan and Aljamain Sterling. They're going to run it back. That's coming up soon. So after that fight, we could see the scenario where TJ walks right in and faces one of those guys, which I would absolutely love. I personally think if it's healthy TJ, he beats both of them. I think he'll stop Aljamain, but I think that he gets the better of Petr as well, man. TJ is such a dynamic and versatile fighter, both with his wrestling and with his striking, and his cardio is crazy. So I can see him facing either one of those guys, but it wouldn't surprise me, man, if by this time next year, TJ has that belt, man, because he is on that fast track. But now he also said that he would settle for a top 5 fighter. And that's the part where I'm interested because there's plenty of names for him, man. But we're going to see how that thing plays out. But y'all let me know what y'all think should happen next for TJ. Does he deserve a title shot, especially overcoming everything that he's had to overcome? We know it was self-inflicted, and he looked really impressive against Cory. But do you think he needs to have another fight before he walks into a title chance? That's the legitimate question right there. That's the legitimate conversation. Now for Cory, man, just get back on the wheels, man. Get back on the bike, bro. You're ready to fight whoever. Dude, TJ Dillashaw is one of the greatest bantamweight fighters in the history of the UFC. You losing a split decision to him is nothing, it's not anything where you should be thinking about yourself negatively or looking down. You got beat by one of the best in the business. That's fine. You're going to be able to beat anybody else, though. So with Cory, man, I'm ready to see him fight again. And he sounded like he was pretty ticked off because he felt that he won it. So that's going to be the one where I'm interested to see what happens with Cory. But either way, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. And until next time, baby, peace.